So hopefully you guys have this file, and I will just run through like a quick little guide on how to use it. So StreamDiffusion or TouchDesigner in general is like notoriously frustrating because the UI is just like whack, right? And I think that that is something that is definitely a bit of a barrier for people who have not been using it for like 2 years, like me. Um, and so, well, what I've created is a nice little UI so that you can use StreamDiffusion's latest update without needing to know too much about how anything actually works in TouchDesigner. So on the right-hand side, you'll have the UI, and on the left-hand side, you'll have a StreamDiffusion, like everything. Yeah, StreamDiffusion everything. And I have like these little nodes, and I also have these little color-coded boxes that kind of, have a description on how things work. And yeah, you can just read up on it and just like click on it. A few things before we start is this is a beta, so like if you have any bugs, please let me know. And then also in terms of like how to move on the UI, you can click and hold to move around. This is like the network space. These are all nodes. So these are nodes, and whatever node that you're highlighting on, it will be green, and you can just click through them, and then they have different parameters. If you don't see a parameter, try pressing P. P hides the parameter box, so if you ever have nothing, just press P on your keyboard. But yeah. In terms of other UI stuff, I feel like I'll go through them. Just ask if you get lost, basically. Like, and I'll basically tell you what is going on. But yeah, if we zoom in on the left-hand side by scrolling, or like if you're on Mac, I think you just have to like spread with like or like scroll upwards. Oh yeah, definitely try using like I would say like I would suggest using TouchDesigner with a mouse. It's just one of those like tools that it's like if you don't have a mouse, it's just gonna be like 5,000 times harder. But yeah, you can zoom in and there's going to be some text and it just says first time Daydream users drag StreamDiffusion 3.0 into this box. So when you download this component from .simulate, it's a $5 subscription and you just download it and then you can drop it in, right? So it's a $5 purchase. It's a one-time purchase, and then you can continue to support him through subscriptions. And if you do continue to support him, you get a Discord where you can get bug debugging help, and then you also can just get free updates. Anyways, from there on, what you can do is, well, you're going to download your file and it's going to be somewhere stored somewhere, right? And so all we have to do is we have to find that. It's going to be in, for me, I just have it in my StreamDiffusion. I have a bunch of different versions, but yours should be StreamDiffusion TD 0.3.0. And so what we just have to do, this is a tox. So a tox is just a little component that, yeah, it's just a little component that has a bunch of different functionalities. And this one right here, all you gotta do is you gotta grab it and just drop it into the network, like so. Once you have it there, this parameter should come up and like, yeah, the whole point of this UI is that you don't need to go through and like try to figure out what's going on in all of these. All you have to do is you have to read here, and you just gotta go to the install tab, right? So, like so. And yeah, so a few things that it's important. So first thing is you want to change the backend to Daydream. It might be on local, but yeah, just make sure that it's on Daydream. So you can just click it here. The next thing that you gotta do is you gotta load in your API key. As of right now, API keys are free, and I believe you can pulse this button right here, and you can just click on Get API Key, and it will open onto a website like so. Now, here, and then and just in case if someone gets lost. You just got here. Could you send it to us afterwards? So 1 second. There's a download link for here. Copy text. Yeah, if anyone could just like if anyone is lost, just let me know. Like please just like if you come in late, there's a file that you should download and then like that's it. And I'm just teaching people how to install it. Okay, great. Anyways, so once we're on this website, and yeah, just in case you don't have it, you can put it here. Um, yeah, you'll be on this website, and all you have to do is like create an account, and then once you create an account, you'll be able to add a new API key. And a new API key, so to press here, you can name it whatever you want, workshop test, and you can generate the key. Once you generate it, keep it somewhere. All right, this thing, once you hit done, it's gone forever. Right now API keys are free, so get one as fast as you can, and play around with our services as much as you want. But eventually, I believe we are going to be charging, I think hourly, but yeah. Right now it's gonna be good for us to use, and so you can press here to copy it, and once you do, all you gotta do is you just got to go into this Daydream API key portion and then remove all of this, like highlight it, and then do Control V to paste it into your uh, Daydream API. Then you can just like click off and it should just automatically be loaded like so. And you only need to do this the first time because the guy who created, yeah, you can also grab my key, but like, I mean, um, but once you get that done, you only need to do that once. You only need to do that once, which I think is the best part, because it stores it onto your system. And yeah, so I'm gonna wait for everyone to do that. I'm gonna look at the chat. I'm gonna see if anyone is lost on that part. Just all you really need to pay attention to is that these 4 instructions. And yeah, if it's loaded, then it's loaded. So I'm gonna wait like 3 minutes, and yeah, it's gonna wait 3 minutes. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna be drinking the soda. Anyone having issues with it? Thank you. Yeah, love product design. We have questions? No questions? Questions? No questions? All right, I'm gonna wait 1 more minute and then we're gonna move on. Anyone's behind? 10. Where are the links? If you joined in late, I mean, like you can scroll up the chat and then you'll find everything. Um, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely. I mean, you can just scroll and like look through it. Yeah, take your time. Yeah. Like that's the thing with like online workshops. You kind of have to like get there at 10 and then like kind of roll with us. Otherwise, it's like everything's gonna be in a link and then you have to scroll through it and um, but someone can DM him maybe. Um, okay, cool, awesome. So once you have this down, um, all you gotta do is you just gotta press start right here, and that's it. Once you got that done, you should have this loading pipeline thing right here. And now what you can do is you just gotta wait. It'll take a few seconds to start up, but once it does, you'll get a little output on the right hand side. There you go. And yeah. So from there, I'm going to what we could do now is we can just press P to remove the parameter box, and then we can drag this, just hover over this like line right here until you get a little ability to like drag it open, and I'm just gonna make myself a bit bigger, like so. Okay, so from there, when we have that, now we can just go through the UI real quick. So this left-hand side image, that's my input. Hi, that's me. Right-hand side is our output. This is the AI image. Right now, there's no adherence. All right, this thing is like you can see it kind of move around, but like there's nothing going on. So we gotta play around with the stuff to make it better. You can press record to record a video, and it will just be a side by side of this output. Down here is the text, so you can do whatever you want. So right now it's like this. Like I could also do banana, monkey, and it should update. Oh, maybe it doesn't. I want to update. Oh, interesting. Did I mess up the parameters? Okay, I'll have to fix that later, but for now, let's just keep it on the yeah. I'll send the updated version where this will actually update after the workshop. But right now, let's just keep it on low polygon for now, and I'll teach you guys how to change it within the parameters later on. But yeah, down here over these three are IP adapters, which are image prompts, which I'll get into later. But these seven parameters are what help us move our our output image into something that looks like us. Yes, we need to subscribe. Offline can, yeah, of course. And so yeah, what we can do is we can do, so canny is one way to increase your video. So canny is basically what it is it is a control net that takes it's a preprocessor. So control nets are preprocessors that help your output better understand what it's looking at. So think of like this entire system as like a filter, and it's like, okay, what is our output trying to be? You'll notice that here it says low polygon render video game low resolution vibes, right? There's nothing about a human, like, and that's why when you turn all like the control nets down, so all of these are 0, 0, 0, that's why we kind of just get this like random scene, because the AI doesn't really know what they're actually looking at very well. So like think of these as like kind of like glasses, you know? So Canny, what it does actually is it's a preprocessor that gives a edge map. And you don't have to do this, but essentially what it does is it takes all of the features of the edges of your input, and it's like, okay, what are we looking at exactly? What is the white space that, like, what is the white that is being drawn right now? And so at 0.2, it kind of gives like a bit helpful, but you can crank that up to like 0.5 and then, or 0.4, and then yeah, it does like a pretty good job. So the next one that we can do is their depth control net. Our depth control net is one that basically estimates the 3D spatial coordinates of our input. And this is great because it allows you to kind of get the distance between objects, right? And so that means that if I have like two things over here, like in front, like it can actually tell that it's hands, and then there can be like a little bit face right here. And so with the StreamDiffusion 2D, our Daydream version, it allows us to do two, like multiple control nets. So the multiple control nets here, you know, we can combine both of them. And the both of them, we get a really good like adherence, right? Now it knows that what we're looking at is both like the edges that help us understand it's a human, but then also the fact that like we have this like depth map going on so that we can understand that, oh, like this hand is in front of like this entire body, right? If I like turn off my depth, completely. Now it's having a really hard time thinking that this is like they're like thinking like, oh, this is like this hand is like like they don't even know where this hand is, right? It's like it's part of a tree or something, right? Or like it's part of the rocks. So having both of them together helps a lot with basically adherence and being able to understand like, oh, these are close up like hands that are close up to the camera. What happens with canning on the max? So the thing is, right, it's like it's really about like making sure the balance is good. If you increase things to the max, then you're taking in like a bunch of inference data, right? So it's a bunch of it becomes really ugly and it becomes very much yourself, right? Because what it's doing is it's getting so much influence from the input image. So if I turn this one down, you'll see that it's like it doesn't look good because it's basically relying on too much of the actual input, right? And not much on the creativity of like the stream diffusion component. Um, but yeah, I think it's really good for you to just like experiment with yourself and ask yourself like how these things are working. Um, but usually for me, from experience, having control nets higher than 0.5, it really makes it not look that good. But yeah. So another thing that you'll notice is that like as I'm moving my hands, right? The it's pretty flickery, right? So it's a really good idea for you to try out tile. And so what tile does is it has a feedback associated with it. And right now there's a bug with the stream diffusion component where if you want to change this feedback parameter, you have to change it and then you have to change the tile as well. So just a little an ordering issue, I guess, just to like let you guys know. I like to keep these though both at like 0.2. So we're gonna change the feedback and then we're gonna change our tile. And yeah, you'll notice now what it does is that it's a feedback loop. Basically, it's taking the last frame of your output and it's feeding it partially back into stream diffusion so that you get this little like consistency, right? There's a lot less flickering. And so the thing is though is that if you kind of like crank up the feedback too high, then it becomes like really like mushy and blurry because it's just taking a like yeah it's taking a it's relying a lot on the feedback loop of it and it gives like a very like mushy feeling like as everything is like blurring because it's just a bunch of like think of it as like a like if you're like you know those like special effects where it's like you're running and then there's like a player after trail, you know, that's basically what's happening where it's just using too many frames. So that's why I really like it at like 0.2. It's like a subtle thing that helps a lot with the visuals. Yeah. Okay. So once we get those done, now we have our step size. And I like 3. And so with this, you get to choose 3 to play around with. And the step size is like a denoising it's a denoising, I guess, algorithm. And so the higher the step size, I believe the less the denoise is. So if I increase this step count to the maximum, you'll notice that it's basically me because we're only doing one denoise essentially. And so it's basically just me and there's it's that's it, right? It's not that great. Another thing about the step size is that you want it to be in increasing increasing order. So first step is the smallest and the third step is the largest. So if I increase this to be like 19 and then I increase this one to be like 7, you'll notice that my 2 goes up with it because yeah, we can't have step 2 to be lower than step 1. So that's something that you should keep as a note. And so yeah, you can play around with this and see what works. But yeah, there you go. Um I actually don't love this step size, but you know, definitely experiment with it. I think that for SDXL, it kind of helps a lot to, oh, you know what? Sometimes, yeah, I don't like this because it's like too much of the input image. So I think what we can actually do is like decrease these a bit as well. And then also decrease this a bit more. Yeah. Okay, cool. And yeah, so those are the parameters that kind of affect the output look, and it's really basically how you can balance your input image and your creative, your like StreamDiffusion's creativity, to make like something that is like looking kind of nice. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna go into, actually before that, does anyone have any questions? KD, do any of your audience have any questions? So all you gotta do, Grandma, is there's instructions up here when you open up the file, and it just says first time Daydream users drag this into the box. You just have to go to the install tab and then paste your key into here. Okay, if there's no questions, I will move on to the IP adapters. Okay, so if you go through this network, you'll also see this IP adapter folder select. And this right here is a file, like a folder file selector. If I press P again, I'll open up the parameters, and what you'll see is basically this folder one. Yeah, definitely click on it, and you'll see this UI right here that has a bunch of information about a folder that you choose. There's a yellow sign right now because the folder that I chose does not exist. And so what we can do is we can press this plus button right here. And with that plus button, what we can do is we can look for a folder. And it doesn't matter which folder you choose because it will automatically, well, as long as it has images, then you'll be good. Ideally, JPEGs and PNGs. But once you select it, you'll see a few things happen. So this will load, the yellow sign will be gone, and you'll see a little image at the bottom left corner of your output. And can the input? Yes. Oh, is the camera not? So if the camera isn't working, you can go into this video device in and then press this active. I think maybe it's off. Yeah. I'll go through how to, and yeah, you can change the input to be anything. I'll go through that real quickly after the IP adapters. But yeah, so the next thing is the IP adapters. Once you load in a folder, you can increase the IP adapter weight, and you'll see that whatever your input is, it will get a nice little influence from the image that you're using. So you see right here, another one. And yeah, you can choose any folder with a bunch of images, and you can decide how strong or how weak you want this to be. Like so. It can be anything you want. So I'll go into that next, actually. So with this file, all you really need to keep is this input and then this output and this StreamDiffusion. So what we can actually do is we can grab these two, right? These two inputs, right? And we can actually just delete them like so. And now everything disappears. And yeah, well, from there, well, what we can do is we can create our own little networks, right? And it really depends on what you want, right? So one thing that you can do is you can, well, if you double click on the network or press tab, you can open up the nodes. And one of the things that you can get is a movie file in. So this is like probably the most easiest thing that you can do. Once you're there, what you can do is you can throw that thing in there like so. Uh, if this is kind of like too big, it depends on the resolution. So I usually like to keep things square, but it really doesn't matter too much. If you want to change the movie file in, you can press plus on the movie file in node, like for the file right here. And what you can do is you can just pick whatever thing you want. I really like to put in my own projects. So one of the things that I like is this one right here. And yeah, there you go. Now, because of the way that this is like outputted, I also like to, what I also like to do is I like to add a fit. So this is, so I'm going to double click again. Oop, oop. And I'm going to search up a fit node right here. And from there, what we can do is once we drag it into there, I can drag this notch of the movie file in onto here, like so. And then from there, I can go into the other output notch down here, and I can move this one over this wire exactly right here until it turns yellow, and it replaces it, like so. Once you're there, this fit, you can go into this parameter fit right here, and you can choose whatever fit you want. So fit best kind of keeps it as native as possible, but you can also do like fit outside, and then you get a closer look of like your output. Is there any way to make it less choppy? Um, so something about StreamDiffusion is that it is not actually like you're producing a video. It's more so like you're producing like a stop frame animation, where what StreamDiffusion is really good at is it makes stable diffusion images as fast as possible, and it kind of like compiles them all together. So the choppiness, I believe, like no matter how good you really can get, it's always going to be slightly choppy, unless you run it through an interpolation. I think you can also lower the resolution, but yeah. So the output, if you press record, it will save wherever your project file is located. So mine is here, so I can just press record. And once it's recording, it should be a little bit more white. And then I'll add like a bit of UI, I think, to make this better. But once you're there, well, where's my file located? Well, it's in work TD file. So I'm gonna go there, and you'll see side by side SDXL. There you go. And that's the recording. Now, yeah, you can. So a few things that I will also do is, so this is a good way to use it, but what else you can do is you can also go into the StreamDiffusion TD like parameters. So if you click on this node, you'll have a bunch of the stuff here that you can alter and play around with. So one of the things is, can you change the height and width? You can, but you have to stop the server first, and it'll be here. And you can drag these however you would like. So these widths right here, but you have to stop the server first. You can't like change it right away. The next thing that you can do is you can actually increase your prompt blocks. So this right now, it's a bit glitched. So I'm going to, what you can do is you can actually just get rid of all of this by pressing on this little box right here that says constant, like so. I'll send the updated version later to fix this, but you can directly change the prompts here. So you could do something like, I don't know, blueberries, like so. And then what you can do also is you can increase the prompt blocks. So you can also do 2 prompts. So if I get rid of blueberries and I type in like uh, Pokemon instead, or Pokemon balls, I guess. Let's try that. Huh, interesting. What you can do is you can do also blueberries on the second one. And what you can do is you can actually blend between the 2 prompts, like so. And yeah, you can do like something really low here and like something really high here. And then you get like just blueberries. But yeah, you can add as many as you want. But the creator of StreamDiffusion did say that the more prompts you add, the less stable it gets. So to be honest, I like to just keep it as 1. Like so. And another thing that you can do is actually, yeah, you can change the amount of step schedules by yourself as well. You can increase it. You can do 4, so it's just from 1 to 4. The more you have, the slower the output is, so the more control you have of like defining the output image. Yeah, these settings 2 and 3. Honestly, I don't even know what like. I don't even want to go into it. Like I don't even know. It's just like more complicated that you can do if you're like a lot better at TouchDesigner stuff or Python stuff. And then ControlNet is where you can see all the ControlNet parameters being used or like changed. I have them all automatically enabled. You can go through here and you can select all of them. We have depth, canny, and tile. And then these are where the feedback preprocessor controls are for this. But as you can see here, like I have canny right here, and then I have canny right here. If I increase canny, they reflects. So it's just this is just connected here, like so. And then let's see. The last thing is models. So I think models here is where you can change the models. We also offer SD 1.5 and SD Turbo. But you can just go into here and change it. So you'll have to stop the server again, but you can just automatically select it and it will change all the parameters too. How do you delete the image that is over the output? So that will depend on like your knowledge on how to use TouchDesigner. I'll go through that real quick afterwards at the very end. But yeah, as of right now, if you just want to record this, you'll have to include it. But let me just go through a bit more of what you can do with this sort of stuff. So one of the things that you can do is you can create like entire like intricate networks, right? And you can put them into this thing. So one of the things that I like to do is like a noise. And a noise is just like a very simple node. And what I'm going to do here is with this noise, I'm going to change the period to be like 4. I'm going to change the harmonics to be 1. I'm going to change the amplitude to be 1. And I'm going to change the offset to be 0. And I'm going to turn monochrome off like so. In the second tab, there's going to be this bunch of ways you can transform it. We're going to focus on this translate up here that has 3 boxes. We're going to go to the very end and we're going to type in ABS time, ABS time dot seconds, like so. And now you can see that it moves a bit. So this is just like a way to animate in TouchDesigner. This is going really fast though. So this is going every single second. We're like moving it, but we can slow it down. So I like to just multiply it to like 0.1 or something like that. So you can just copy and paste this into the third box right here. And I'll paste this into here as well. Once you're there, well, what we can do is we can actually just delete this movie file in. And like so, we can just enter this. And yeah, from there we can uh we can change this to be like whatever we want, like maybe like cotton candy. No, like yeah, cotton candy. Like so. Something that's really important about SDXL is that it's a really good idea to be as descriptive as possible. So like mixed media, abstract painting, flat 2D, uh, vivid colors. It's really good to be descriptive as possible because it helps a lot with what your output will look like. And it's the same vibe, so you can still, use your IP adapters with all of this stuff. Or you can just not use it at all, like so. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is basically the entire network. Sorry about this thing though. I should have double checked this part. I forgot to change the prompts. But yeah, another thing is that I also am going to have a video tutorial on this stuff. So yeah, it can change. So let me stop this server real quick. So what you can do is if you want to stop, you can just stop it by pressing this right here. It freezes it. And so yeah, if you want something that's 16:9 for like social media, what you can do is you can do 512, and then you can I think you multiply this by 9 by 16. Oh no, other way around. Sorry. You want to multiply the width by 9 by 16. Like so. And then you get something vertical like that. Yeah, it's gonna multiply by that ratio. And then what you can do is you can press start again. Oh, it's too small. Okay, hold on. All right, let's stop that again. Let's multiply this by 16 by 9. There we go. 512 by 910. Let's see if that works. Oh, it has to be a multiple of 64. Okay, hold on. Right. It has to be in powers of 2. Whoopsies. All right, let's just like vibe it out until we get something that's like maybe something like this. All right, yeah, that's pretty good. Hmm. No, so we don't need to optimize. So I was talking to Lyle about that. They already do that in the component for you. So just, in terms of optimizing, just like make sure that the input is like the same resolution. I think that's about it. But it already does the downscaling for you. But yeah. So one thing about the IP adapters, just to let you guys know. Okay, actually a few things. Number one is the higher the resolution you have, the laggier it's gonna be. So now we're at 7 FPS. The second thing is depending on your IP adapter, it's a bit buggy. So you'll have like a default if you have IP adapters on base on default, it will kind of default to this like weird like green like multicolored version. So what you can do is you can just press next IP adapter and then change the IP adapter weight, I believe, and it should update. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And yeah, so another thing that someone was asking was how can you record it without the little image? Yeah, so the little image, so that comes into the movie file out. So all of this is like kind of like labeled, so you can read through everything. But this is where you can see how things are getting recorded. So for example, what's happening here is we are going through. I'm just gonna make this a bit smaller. What's happening here is that we're going through and we're looking at what's like being happening here. So this is the input, right? This is the output. This is the IP adapter, and what I'm doing is I'm kind of fitting it over like so, and then you get this right here. From there, we're doing a bunch of this stuff right here to get this output image. If you just want to record the output, all you gotta do is you just gotta focus on this guy right here, which I'm gonna color code like red for recording. All you gotta do is you gotta move this over here, and you can just replace this input or this input wire with this one right here. And then you can just go into this one and you can manually record it down here. A lot of this stuff is like TouchDesigner knowledge that you will learn if you just use TouchDesigner. But I just wanted to just make something where it's like, okay, maybe you don't want to learn it like that much. So this right here, it will still work. You can still record it here. But now what you'll get is well, if I go into my files, now I get this guy right here. Yeah. Another thing is, oh, I need to fix this actually. Yeah, I'll fix that later. Another thing is, aside from that, yeah, if you want to do a side by side and you don't want to include that visual, that little thing right there, what you can do is you can go and to this layout right here, and oh, sorry, not this layout. Let me bring this back over. So there's a math right here. The math right here. And you can just set this entire thing. You can just remove all of this, set it to 0, like so. And then that makes it completely disappear. So, and yeah, that's about it, I think. I'm gonna stop this again real quick. So there's a few things that I need to definitely fix about this file, which is why I think it's important that you guys are in the Discord, because that's where I'll be uploading it. The last thing is definitely gonna be, oh my god. So I'm gonna change that back to 5.2. Yeah, actually that's about it. I mean, yeah. Does anyone else have any questions? So Yeah, as of right now, what's broken is this right here. So you should be able to change this as you type, but I think I must have took the wrong uh took the wrong parameter. Yeah. Um, but one thing that is important is I know I didn't go through any of the like interesting visuals that you can make in TouchDesigner, and I have two things to say about that. Number one is we do workshops here. So every Tuesday we run something where I make something and we just run that through StreamDiffusion. So that's one thing. Another thing is if you do want to find different workflows, you can go onto our Creator Hub. So this is our Creator Hub, and our Creator Hub has two, I would say, like pretty important ones so far, but we're growing. So this is the first one, which is a Daydream, and then the next one is going to be me. And yeah, all you gotta do is you can just download this, right? And so, for example, I'm going to start this up, right? For example, let's say that I want to download something, um, and then I want to just use it into this current workflow. Well, let's look for one that's like pretty simple. Maybe not this one. Let's go into and look at let's go and look and browse for this one right here, the contour lines one. I'm going to download it, right? And download the contour lines. Then I can open it up. And I would have two. Okay, great. So here, right, this is just an empty little file. So what you have to do is you kind of just have to paste in your StreamDiffusion thing and kind of do this exact same thing. Or if you want to just like kind of still be able to play with this UI, well, what you can do is you can copy and paste this entire thing of this network. So right click to highlight everything, then Control C to copy or Command C, and then Control C to paste, like so. Now, oh, this is interesting. Uh, oh, I see. So what we can do is we can oh, I see. Okay, hold on. Another way we can do this is if we have these errors, I think it's because we're already having a null 4, so these should be null 2. Okay, let's go through all these errors together and fix that. I think this should be null 2. This one should be null 3. This one should be null 5. Okay, yeah. Here, if you guys didn't see what I did, this one should be null. So this op.null1 should be null 2. This op.null3, this null 2 should be null 3. This op.null5 should be null 5, or null 4 should be null 5. And